For years, something has been echoing deep, deep below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. It started up in August 1991 when the Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory finally turned on its sound surveillance system. From the very first second, the sound was there. Odd, eerie, unexplainable. They named it Upsweep since, when sped up, it sounds like a continuously rising note. And ever since its initial discovery, it's been there, sounding up around the same time every year, still as odd and unexplainable as before. It's stayed relatively consistent throughout the years, only diminishing slightly in strength and loudness, still anomalous. Yesterday this changed. Yesterday the world as we know it changed. I've worked as a marine geologist for the National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration, NOAA, for almost a decade now, and I've always been wholly fascinated by Upsweep. So much so that I studied it officially as one of my many projects. It baffled me, consumed my imagination, and left me speculating late into the night. Which is why I was awake when I got the call at 2 a.m.
Dr. Pike?
Yes, I breathed, sitting up, turning on the light, then squinting in the sudden brightness.
Sorry to wake you. Should I call back later?
No, I mean, who is this?
Sorry, this is Matt Miller. I work for the Joint Institute for Marine and Atmospheric Research. I was told to call you, let you know what's happening.
What's happening? I leaned over and grabbed my glasses, flicking them open and shoving them on my face.
Well, it's actually quite exciting, I think. It's Upsweep.
I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Upsweep? The voice on the other end sounded eager, breathless when it said,
It's changing.
I left at 2:43 a.m. and got to Santa Barbara 20 minutes later, pulling onto an almost deserted University of California campus. I was told that my project head and some of my colleagues would be meeting me at Webb Hall to discuss the implications of Upsweep's changes, but when I entered the room, there were only 2 people inside, one I recognized and one I didn't. Ah, Dr. Pike, I'm the Director of Marine Geology here at UCSB. Dr. Joan Leo, yes, I've admired your work for years. Leo smiled, shaking my hand warmly in both of hers before saying, and this is... The middle-aged man next to her took a step forward, grasping my hand in his. He was wearing a smooth black suit and looked like he had been awake for days. Cooper. We shook once, twice, then let go. Leo turned to me. Cooper called me early this morning with some concerning information. Please. She gestured to one of the padded seats surrounding the conference table, and I sat down along with Cooper and Leo. He took out a black folder and pulled out 3 paragraphs, sliding them towards me without saying a word. I picked them up, not knowing what to expect, not expecting my mouth to drop and my skin to prickle. What is this? Leo and Cooper looked at each other. We were hoping you could help us find out. The first picture was a map of the sound fluctuations, and I could clearly see that Upsweep was getting louder, faster. I set it down. The next was a blurry sonar image of something strange, something large. I turned it sideways, then upside down, unable to make it out. The third and final picture made me audibly gasp. It was another sonar image, clearer this time. It looked like an entire section of the ocean floor had come unhinged and was rising towards the surface. It was huge, fascinating. The image was relatively indistinct, but it looked oblong, cigar-shaped. This is impossible. Cooper nodded gravely. We thought so too, until we organized an emergency dive with our fellows at JIMAR. I'll just let you listen. He pulled out his phone, placing it on the table, and pressed play. At first, the sound coming from it was barely audible, and then, like a dirge rising up from the grave, I heard it. A deep, resounding, booming noise unlike anything I've ever heard before. It sounded like there was some intelligence to it, like it was trying to speak. Suddenly the sound shifted and it was higher, more recognizable as the sound I had come to know as Upsweep. But it sounded more urgent, and it was quicker, like it was calling out for something. Cooper picked up his phone when the sound stopped, leaving us in an eerie, palpable silence. Beside him, Leo's eyes were distant, her elbows resting on the table, her fingers steepled. I glanced at both of them, voiceless, stunned, before looking back down at the pictures in front of me. "There's something else," it was Leo. I looked up at her and she continued, "Jaima has observed a multitude of marine creatures congregating to that area. Whole pods of whales, schools of fish, hundreds of sharks, they all seem to be swimming in the same direction, in a spiral over where that sound and that thing," she pointed to the photo of the cigar-shaped monstrosity, "were triangulated in the Pacific." I cleared my throat. "If I may ask, how did you get all this information?" I was looking directly at Cooper. "Do you work for NOAA or for Jaima?" He shook his head. "I'm affiliated with them, a liaison if you will, and I was given the data by a colleague at Jaima. He thought I would be best equipped to handle the situation. But I wasn't, so I called Joan here, and we were referred to you by the director of NOAA, and here we are." "Dr. Pike," Leo said, neatly stacking the photographs together, "you'll be given full access to all the data we collect, and all of our resources will be at your disposal. We want to help you find out what this thing may be, even if it's just a totally natural but never observed occurrence. Here's my card." She slid a light blue card towards me. "And mine," the man said, taking a matte black card from his wallet and placing it atop the photographs. "Thank you," I said, not knowing what else to say. This is all so strange. Horrific, really. The implications of what that might be, what it might do. Earthquakes, tsunamis. My voice tapered off. "Where do we go from here?" Cooper sighed and shrugged on his jacket, standing up and collecting all the papers. "Tomorrow," he said resolutely. "What about tomorrow?" He looked at me. "Tomorrow we go out there, dive and see what it might be. Now, we've all got work to do before that. I'll be in touch." He walked towards the door, stopped, and added, "And don't forget to get some sleep. Good night, Dr. Pike." Leo gave me a tight-lipped smile and followed Cooper out of the room. But I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about what that thing might be. Why has it gotten louder? What it all means? It's been almost exactly 24 hours since I found out about Upsweep and the anomaly causing it. I've spent the past day collecting and observing the data Jaima sent us, trying to piece together the puzzle. My mind is reeling. Soon, we'll be sailing off into the literal unknown. I can't sleep, and I'm worried.